we have. I'm going to be taking you on a bit of an online tour, and I'll try and provide you with as much information as I can throughout the presentation. You are able to ask us some questions, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation this morning. And you're able to write those questions in as you go along as they come to you. Please use the Q&A function that's at the bottom of your screen rather than the chat function. So here we are in the beautiful Hinga'a Peninsula in Karaka, and this is the Strathallan campus. We're actually set in approximately 30 acres of land, surrounded by a beautiful tidal inlet, as you can see. And this ample space and beautiful surroundings actually allows for a really calm, relaxed atmosphere at our school and ample space for outdoor activities and sports. You can see there that we have 3 separate schools on the one campus. So we've got our preschool here and it's situated in the middle. Children there can attend from 3 months of age through to 5 years, and we have approximately 100 students there. We have our primary school for years 0 to 6 with approximately 250 students, and then our college. And that goes right through to year 13. Love it when the internet's not playing the game. Very sorry about that. So here we are. Here's some gorgeous children to look at instead of me. Right, so there we've got the preschool, the primary school, and the secondary, which obviously we call our college. Now, having the 3 schools together on the one campus really allows us to ensure that our students have a smooth transition at 2 really key phases in their education. So, and that is from the preschool and moving through to a primary when they first start developing those early learning skills and that motivation and will to want to learn. And then, of course, this next most important phase when they move from a primary through into an intermediate or college. Our intermediate children are a part of our college, so the children move through for year 7. Our transition program includes a lot of visits, classroom activities. We have a buddy reading program where our year 5 students actually go down to our preschool and complete some buddy reading. This creates a really lovely relationship with the students. So when those preschoolers come through to the primary, our year 5 students will then be their year 6 leaders. So they feel like the big children in the school are their friends. And that creates a wonderful, warm, welcoming atmosphere for them. Similarly, we actually do the same for the college. In year 12, students can take part in a service program where they can come down to the primary and help within the classrooms, as you would almost see a teacher aide in a way. That also gives the children the opportunity to create those relationships with those older students. So when they move through to the college, they know the older year 13 students there. Another really important part about Strathallan is our values. We have 4 values that are embedded in everything that we do here at Strathallan: pride, integrity, respect, and compassion. We have very high expectations, but they're not unrealistic expectations on behaviour. It's really important to us that we ensure that every student is happy and safe in learning. And these values allow us to do that because we know that children cannot learn unless they feel happy and safe. So this is what we expect of everybody here on the campus. Strathallan is a part of the Inspired group. So there are 4 ACG schools in New Zealand, and these are all a part of that group. And Inspired is a network of more than 70 of the top schools from many countries around the world. And this actually provides incredible opportunities for both our staff and our students. So what is it like in our primary school? Our primary is from years 0 to 6. Now in New Zealand, if your child turns 5 in terms 3 or 4, they will be classified as a year 0. Their following year, their full first year of school, they will be a year 1. In saying that, if we have students that are socially, emotionally, and academically ready, we can reclassify students. But it's really important that we look at the whole student holistically to ensure that they're in that correct age group with the correct peers for when they're moving through later years in the college. We have 2 teams within the primary. So year 0 to 3 is our junior team and year 4 to 6 is our senior, and they are overseen by deans. We have 2 classes at every year level, and we make sure that our programs and our timetables allow for the really important particular stages of growth and development to happen within those year groups. We have a really important saying that we say in the primary. We ensure that the children know we don't want them to try and be the best. We want them to do their best. And that's a key difference. Primary school should be fun. It should be the time where you experience absolutely everything, because you don't know where your skills are going to go. You don't know where your passions are yet and what you're really good at. Primary is the time where you should try absolutely everything so that you can discover where your individual passions and areas of expertise lie. So it's really important that we provide a truly holistic program. The school motto here at Strathallan is pride and achievement, and you can see that here in this diagram. It encompasses everything that we do. We need to be really proud of who we are and proud that we are here. So you can see here in the diagram that our learners are at the centre and the heart of every decision that we make. And our vision and our values help to develop those important skills and qualities within these 5 areas. Now, these 5 pillars ensure that we have that truly holistic program that I was talking to you about. So it's not just the academics, it's about their well-being and their pastoral care. It's about providing ample opportunities for sports, activities, and within the arts. It's about experiential education, education outside the classroom, camps and trips. And it's again about that leadership and service. Within their leadership and service area that I was talking about earlier, all of our year 6s have a leadership responsibility in the primary school. And this leads through to the service in the college where they're expected to give back. Our students are really lucky to be here at Strathallan. We're really lucky to be here as staff, and we want them to know that. We want them to be very grateful and to give back to the school. So here we have a year 0 timetable. Now, as you can see, in the early years, numeracy and literacy is incredibly important. So our program reflects that. So you'll see the majority of the day is English. How our program works is it's actually quite structured. Children work really well with structure and routine. They like to know what's happening next and what's expected of them. And that's when we know that they will be more settled and know what you want from them. Okay, so what we've provided is a program here that has 1 to 2 periods of English per day for our younger years. In period 1, they might be taking reading and oral language, and period 2 would be your writing and written skills. Every classroom has math every single day, regardless of their year group, and the other subjects are separated. We do plan and assess every subject separately. Topics might be related, but subjects are taught individually. And this means that as parents, and more importantly, the children, know exactly where they're at in every single subject. You can see here on this timetable that there's 20 periods, so 4 a day. And all the other the subjects here that make up those 20 periods are music and performance arts, sport, which is separate to your PE and health, a visual art, a science, and a social science. In year 0 and 1, these subjects will be taken by their classroom teacher, except for music and performance arts, which is led by a specialist. However, as the children move through the school, teachers start to semi-specialise. So children in year 2 to 3, their teachers may choose to teach science for both classes, while the other teacher in that year group teaches the social science. So the teachers get to semi-specialise, utilising their own interests, passions and strengths. The children, though, importantly, stay as a class group and move to that other teacher for that subject. At year 1, we also introduce our languages program. So you can see there that on a period 2 on a Monday, this class has a half a period of Mandarin that is taken by a specialist. The other subject that's integrated here is digital technology and coding, and that is taught later as a separate subject when we move through to the senior school. So here is a year 6 timetable, which gives you a really good opportunity to have a look at how those programs are delivered. We still have 1 to 2 periods of English to incorporate our reading, writing, and oral language skills. We have half a period of Mandarin. We also have half a period of Spanish and half a period of the digital technology and coding. Every class teacher takes their own English and maths, but all of these other classes are taken by specialist teachers. What that does is it gives the teachers an opportunity to utilise their own personal strengths and interests. For example, one of our senior science teachers used to work in a science laboratory before she did her teaching degree. So why not utilise that passion and skill? It means that our teachers don't have to be experts in everything. Just like we say to our children, we're not all experts in everything. It means that they can put all of their time and much more time into English, math, and visual art, for example, than trying to spread their time thinly while planning multiple subjects. They get to teach in an area that they're really passionate about. And what that means for our children is they get somebody in front of them who's incredibly motivating and passionate and knowledgeable within that subject. So if that is becoming their area of passion and expertise, they have somebody that can really harbour and motivate them within that area. I'm going to speak to you a little bit more further on about the difference between PE and sport, because you can see there that they're actually separate as well. And there's quite a key difference. The other thing we really enjoy about having a timetable that is set like this in a primary school means that these are the subjects that happen at those times. Our subjects don't run into one another with the favourite subject of the day, usually being the arts in the afternoon or PE, getting lost. We know, and you know, and more importantly, the children know what is coming up every Tuesday. By the time they move through to the college, they're able to organise themselves, bring their PE gear the days that they need it, have their homework due to the correct teacher at the correct time, get themselves to class on time after having their snacks lined up outside with their books without bells, just like it's going to be in the college. So for our year 6 students, that transition through is really smooth. They know how to organise themselves. They know what to do and how and where to be. They know the campus. They know the expectations of behaviour because those values have been embedded in their program since they started school. We always get a lot of questions about homework. Now, prior to all of those who are sitting at home with children and who have had to become expert teachers recently, homework should not be a time where you're expected to teach your children. Homework when you're younger is a time to celebrate your learning. It's a time where the children should be bringing home a book that is a scene text that has been taught. The teacher will be providing you with a card that gives you a range of questions and things to ask to help make deeper connections with the text. Your job is to sit there as a parent, is to look at what they're experiencing in the classroom and to motivate them, encourage them, and to celebrate their learning with them. In the younger years, they would have a book every day. They may have a math activity for the week, and they may have some words to learn that would go link from their reading into their written language. As the children get older and move through into the senior primary, they may have some subjects, activities from their specialist subjects. The length of the homework should not be too arduous, but it should be enough that they get to develop their homework and study routine. So again, when they move through to the college, they're able to organise themselves, organise which work has to be done by when around their outside at school and after school activities. Now, another thing that we need to prepare our students for is examinations. So within the primary, generally we have a vast range of summative and formative assessments. However, when you move through to the college, exams become a really big part of assessment. Now, not everybody does well in an exam situation, so it's our job in the primary to make sure that we prepare the children for that. Now, we do this by introducing exams in year 5. So in year 5, the children will work towards an exam at the end of the year that only encompasses learning from the past 2 terms. We don't expect them to revise topics from the entire year. We give them all of those topics. We give them the routine and the structure and a timetable to work through. We give them the revision booklets. In year 6, we'll have a mid-year and an end-of-year exam. And this exam will be set in the school hall, more like an exam situation, whereas a year 5 exam would still be in their classroom, more like a bigger test. So this means our children learn how to study, they learn how to organise and classify all of their knowledge, and they also learn how to cope in a nerve-wracking exam situation before they move through to the college, where those exam results do matter and have a lot more weighting. Part of our holistic program is ensuring that we give our students a large amount of sporting opportunities. So in the primary, I talked about earlier in our timetables how we have a separate PE and a separate sports session. Now, what that means, physical education is where we learn the skills. We learn how to bounce the ball, how to throw the shot put, how to jump the high jump. In sport, we actually put those skills into the game situation. So it's really important that they're actually separated and that the children get to experience both of those sessions every single week. We know that some of our children get their self-esteem in the classroom or within the arts, and others get it on the sporting field. So we need to make sure that our program is really, truly holistic. Now, all of our students, right from year 0, participate in PE and sport. And there's numerous sports that are taught across the different terms. We have athletics, we have swimming, we have gymnastics. Now, the swimming and gymnastics, we actually incorporate professional coaches into those programs. The other sports are taught by your PE teacher and followed up by our specialist sports coordinator in the primary. And they'll include all your general summer and winter ball games. Photo here is a gorgeous little class of year 1 students participating in PE and numerous other sporting opportunities as they move through the primary. We have our usual school sports days, such as our cross countries, athletics, swimming sports. But as the children move through to year 5 and 6, they actually have the opportunity to represent the school in a multitude of sports within the North Counties competitions. If they do well in those competitions as a team or an individual, depending on the sport, they can move through to represent counties at the Auckland Championships. Now, some of those sports we do have to select students. It might be that our fastest cross-country runners, for example, it might be our best swimmers. It might be in gymnastics, where obviously you need to have those skills in order to be safe. But there are a range of other sports, like our Winter Fun Day and our Winter Interschool Sports Competition, where all year 5 and 6s are expected to participate. However, they get to choose the sport that they wish to participate in. And that gives everybody that moment of pride where they can say they've represented their school in sport. We also provide our children with multiple opportunities to experience new things at lunchtimes. Now, many of our young children just like to get out and play and run around and have fun on the playground, and that is really important. They work really hard in class and they need to get out and run and move. But we also provide a lot of opportunities for different lunchtime clubs. So at the moment, when we are at school, I should say, we do have junior and senior choirs. We have a marimba group, a salsa dancing group, a ukulele group. We have an orchestra and a rock band. We have a chess club, tech club, and a garden club. So there are many opportunities that students of all ages can opt into if they wish. There's also sports and inter-house competitions. We also have after-school programs and multiple additional activities that you can opt to enrol your child into. And these are things like our football academy, arts and crafts, drama, karate, Lego and robotics, and a science fab lab. We also have an after-school program where your children can go up till 6 p.m. every night. And that's BusyBods, which run as a separate business right in our school for only our students. If your child is passionate about music, they may wish to take private music lessons within vocals, any stringed instruments, piano or drums. Now, learning support is very important. Just because we are a private school does not mean that everybody excels in academics. So we're here to provide a quality learning program that is differentiated and meets every student's needs. To start with, all of our classes, all of our teachers are expected to differentiate their planning in reading, writing, and mathematics every day. And that ensures that our students are getting a program that meets their individual needs and their individual learning styles. We have 4 full-time teacher aides and we utilise them where the need is. If we feel there are a group of children in a class that need extra reading mileage, just to have a bit more of a push because they could be achieving better, then that's what we can set up. If it's a program for our ESOL students, our early learners, to really develop their phonics knowledge, then that's where we utilise our teacher aides. So most importantly, we will always ensure that you know where your child is at. You would never find out in a school report that your child requires more support. Our teachers would be emailing you and contacting you as soon as they felt we could do something else to support your student, your child, sorry. So the next step we have here is our enrolment process. If you would like to know more, there's obviously a lot more on our website. I would love to have had you in the school today, but unfortunately that's not possible. So the next best step is to complete an online application. This ensures that all your information goes directly to Kat Weimer, who's our enrolments officer, and we'll be in contact to then set up an interview time. Now this interview is not a right or wrong, and you don't have to help your child with the answers. When a child is 4 years old, I have some incredible interview experiences with my younger children, incredibly entertaining. It's more about looking at those early learning behaviours and helping you as a parent before they start school to help them to ensure that that transition is as smooth as possible. It gives me an opportunity to interview all students coming into our school at any year level. And this is also completed in the college as well. After that, you're sent a letter of offer from Kat Weimer, and that's where you have the point to accept that offer. So I'm going to leave this slide up as I think that this really shows what school and what primary especially should really be about. And that's fun. It should be fun. It should be motivating. It's where you learn how to learn. It's where you learn what you're good at. And there are a lot of things, as you can see, that we do every single day to ensure that our children are happy and safe in learning. We're going to have some question and answer time now, and we're going to utilise that Q&A section. So if you have a question, you're welcome to pop that in there, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Okay, the first question I have coming through is, what do our classrooms actually look like? And as I say, it is a real shame that I don't get to actually show you around today. We have single cell classrooms rather than the open plan. What that means is the classrooms have their own walls, basically. Single cell is a terrible name to put on it. It is not a cell, but that's what they call them, rather than the open plan modern learning environment. We have 2 atriums, a junior and senior atrium, and our classrooms surround the area. So this is a common area in the middle of the classrooms. That part of the building allows for the teacher aides to get students together. It allows for some cross-grouping if we need to, and for a time when our students can come together, but generally they are in their own classroom. We have maximum numbers that we like to stick to. We know a great teacher can do a great job with 30, but they can do a better job with 20. Okay, so what we do is we have maximum numbers of 20 in year 1 and then 2 more every year group after that. So I think that may have actually answered the question there I have about the average class sizes. However, what I can tell you is that we usually have in the late teens as our usual class size. I have a question here about acceptance of children. And that's a great question. During our interview process, it's important that if a child has already been to a school, that I do look at their current reports. It's not a matter of seeing what level the child is at. We can differentiate a program to meet their individual needs. But it does give me an opportunity to look at behaviour. It is important that our families value our school values. It gives a really clear message to a child of what we expect at school is the same behaviours that you expect at home. So when we have that interview process, that's something that we can look out for and we can talk about as a family. I have another question here about our curriculum. You may have read online that we offer both the Cambridge and the New Zealand curriculum here in the primary. So we run the Cambridge curriculum in English, mathematics and science, and a New Zealand curriculum for every other subject. If you're not familiar with the Cambridge curriculum, it gives our students very explicit and a long list of learning intentions at every level, far more learning intentions, more comprehensive and more structured than the New Zealand curriculum provides. And that curriculum then flows through into the college where all the subjects run under the Cambridge curriculum. So it again creates a lovely flow through, and we're able to pass on the knowledge of exactly where our students are at to the college teachers so they can help plan to best meet their needs when they get to those important year 7 and 8 years. And we have a question here about how do we manage inappropriate behaviour? As I mentioned before, we talk about those values. Now, we have real live children in our school who can make mistakes, and that's okay. But we're here to actually refer back to those values and try and teach our children what they look like. So if a child has done something that is not respectful and does not show one of those values, we're actually going to be able to sit down with the child and reflect on that behaviour so it does not become repeated behaviour. We have deans in both of the schools, as I mentioned before, that are able to help address that. And we also have a wonderful support program where we can work with children to help make sure that they are able to meet those expectations of our behaviour. Okay, another great question has come through here. What is the difference between a state and an independent or private school? To be honest, the main difference you would notice, especially if you've had experience yourself in a state school, is that specialised teaching and the way our programs and daily timetables are set. Having those differentiated subjects really allows for us to let you know and let the children know exactly where they are in every subject, what their next steps are and how we're going to help support them so that we can set them up for success. Another thing you may notice is the smaller class numbers, and you may notice a difference in behaviour. Okay, we're just waiting to see if we've got another question there. And it's back to our class numbers and how many children we have in the primary. Currently, we have 235 students in our primary school. And as I said, we have the 2 classes at every year level, except we have 1 year 0 class, new entrants if you prefer. Every classroom is around in the late teens, early 20s at this stage. And I'd actually like to thank our visitor who's just given us some really kind feedback. So I think when you enroll, Mr. Howard, I can tick off that compassion and to your family. Thank you very much for your lovely feedback. Look, if there are any other questions, you can contact us at any time. You're welcome to go onto the website and contact Kat Weimer. She's our enrolments officer for our entire campus. And if you have a really specific primary question, she's not quite sure of the answer, she'll just flick that through to me and I'm happy to get in contact with you. You can either call us as well, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you via Teams or over the phone about our primary school. You can also visit all of our social media sites and you can see photos of our children and how much they actually love and enjoy our primary. Right, it doesn't look like we have any more questions at this stage. Just going to check that there for you. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. I know this is not the ideal way to see a school, but I'm hoping that it's given you some real insight into what we do and how we work and how we run on a daily basis. Please don't hesitate to contact us in any way. Fingers crossed with these alert level changes that we may be able to open these doors soon and welcome you all in and meet you. Thank you very much for joining us. Ka kite.